PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub Recap here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, where we break down every single game of the 2024-2025 season, this is a number 2 of a back-to-back for your Vegas Golden Knights as they took on the Anaheim Ducks. And we are going to talk about every single thing that happened in this game. And we are also going to talk about the big announcement that broke in the morning before the game kicked off. A very important announcement involving the Vegas Golden Knights and the upcoming Four Nations Face-Off tournament. So there is a lot to go over on this episode, and we're going to cover all of that here on Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, here on PR Connections Radio with your host, Ian Rachiele. Now, getting into that big announcement here on Vegas Hockey Hub, and it broke, before you had, even practice, before you had even a morning skate, there was, according to the NHL, the Four Nations roster. Now, this is involving, of course, Canada, Sweden, United States, and when it comes to Finland. So when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights, it was a good announcement that you didn't just have one guy going to a tournament. You didn't have 2. You didn't have 3. You didn't have 4. But you had multiple players going to the Four Nations face-off, and they are going to be representing and coming from the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, starting out with Team Sweden, you have Wild Bill William Karlsson. And for a guy who has been consistent, so a player who has, been a good member of the Vegas Golden Knights over the last 8 seasons, it is very good to see that he is going to be on Team Sweden. He is most likely going to be a middle 6 or bottom 6 center out there for Team Sweden. But it is good to see that William Karlsson is a part of the Four Nations face-off involving Team Sweden. And then on Team USA, which I know for the people who are out here in the United States, you're going to get, hyped, USA. You had 2 members of the Vegas Golden Knights going to be part of Team USA, as you're going to have a superstar and the best player on the team, team MVP for the Vegas Golden Knights, Jack Eichel, him being from Massachusetts, him on Team USA. And then you have another Massachusetts born player from the Vegas Golden Knights who can be part of Team USA, and that is defenseman Noah Hanifin. So for the Vegas Golden Knights, it's pretty good to see Eichel and Hanifin be on that Team USA roster, just like it's good to see Karlsson be on Team Sweden. But when it comes to the final team and a team that, is projected to win this tournament, understandably so, is Team Canada, and the amount of players on this roster for the Vegas Golden Knights. You have goaltender Adin Hill. So Adin Hill, after having a start to the year and having the performance that he has had, he is on the Team Canada roster. Now, is he going to be a starting goaltender? We don't know. That's going to be announced way later on. But, Adin Hill being part of Team Canada on the goaltending side. Defensively, you have Shea Theodore. So Shea Theodore, after having the last couple of seasons being one of the best regarded defensemen in the NHL, he is on this roster. Then you also have Mark Stone for the Vegas Golden Knights. He will be part of Team Canada as well. So overall, I really like what we saw with the Vegas Golden Knights and the amount of players that are coming from Vegas that are going to be in this tournament representing their respective country. And, I know that there's some people who look at this as a gimmick. Okay, there's going to be some concern about, this in the All-Star game. This is kind of like, a borderline Olympics. Like, this is what's this going to be here? Also, there's some people talking about Russia. Why is Russia not in this? But politically, I think we understand why it's not Russia in there. But when it comes to the Four Nations face-off, the amount of Golden Knights on here is the main vocal point of this episode. So congratulations to Carlson, to Theodore, to Stone, to Eichel, and Hannafin for being a part of the Four Nations face-off and being on the rosters for their respective country. Now, this guy is no longer on the Vegas Golden Knights, but since there was an uproar about his exclusion from Team Canada, I will quickly address it. Yes, Logan Thompson is not on Team Canada. Even though Logan Thompson has had arguably one of the best starts to the year, and you can make an argument is a top 5 goaltender in terms of talent this year, in terms of stat-wise, Logan Thompson is not on Team Canada. Now, as a journalist, I'm not going to speculate as to why he's not on the roster. All right? But I just want to remind some people, okay? I just want to remind some people that Pete DeBoer and Bruce Cassidy are assistant coaches on Team Canada. And if there was anyone who would know about Logan Thompson, it would be Pete DeBoer, because he was part of the Vegas Golden Knights when Logan Thompson just started with the team. And then Bruce Cassidy, he had been here during those 2 years that Logan Thompson, the past 2 years before they traded him to Washington. So for the Four Nations face-off, those assistant coaches, they would know the strengths and weaknesses of certain players. So for Logan Thompson being excluded, I agree that it's a snub, but I do want to remind you who the coaches are, because they would have some insight into certain players. So getting away from the Four Nations face-off and talking about that roster, getting into the game itself between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks here on Vegas Hockey Hub. Now, the final pregame note before we break down the starting lineup, before we get into the game itself, is the fact that Mark Stone, despite practicing with the team, despite the fact that Mark Stone, in the previous episode of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, there was some speculation on when he would be back with the Vegas Golden Knights. Well, it's not going to be against the Anaheim Ducks, maybe the Dallas Stars 2 days from now, but Mark Stone is still out. He is not going to be in the starting lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights. So for an update on the captain of Mark Stone, that is your update. He is not going to be in the starting lineup for this. And speaking of the starting lineup, they are the exact same from this previous game. So on the back-to-back, there is no changes here. So Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, Pavel Dorofeyev on line 1, Tomas Hertl, Nicholas Waugh, Keegan Kolazar on line 2, Brett Howden, William Karlsson, and Victor Olofsson on line 3. And then you have Tanner Pearson, Cole Schwindt, Alexander Holtz on the 4th line. So obviously these lines are going to be adjusted, and there's going to be some changing of certain players once Mark Stone does come back against, probably Dallas, or even the next game after that, which would be against Winnipeg. But for now, the line has been the same from when they took on Edmonton last night. And then defensive pairing-wise, no changes here as well. You have Noah Hannafin and Alex Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore, and Braden McNabb. And then Nicholas Hague and Caden Korzak. Obviously, with Zach Whitecloud still dealing with injury problems. Ben Hutton, he's still dealing with an injury. So Caden Korzak being in the starting lineup. And then Ilya Samsonov, with it being a back-to-back, Aiden Hill was in the first game. So Ilya Samsonov will be in the second game for your Vegas Golden Knights. So that is the starting lineup for Vegas heading into this game against Anaheim. Now, to start out the game out there at the Arrowhead Pond, the Honda Center out there in Anaheim, you would have the Vegas Golden Knights get on the board for first, as William Karlsson, with his 5th of the season, him getting it past the goaltender and getting Vegas on the board first. Now, for William Karlsson, ever since, the injury problems he had to begin the year, it has kind of been a slow build to this year. But so far with William Karlsson, since he has been back, since he's been on the ice for the Vegas Golden Knights, 5 goals in the past 27 games. So William Karlsson, I like what we're seeing from him there, and him getting on the board for first for Vegas. That is a solid job there. And then moving over the Vegas Golden Knights, they end the first period. It's a 1-0 game out there at the Honda Center. And in the second period, the defense would then get the puck in the back of the net as Shea Theodore. So William Karlsson, part of the Four Nations face-off, he scores the goal first. And then from Team Canada, Shea Theodore would then add his name to the list on the score sheet as he would score for Vegas. So it being a 2-0 game early on here for Vegas. And then, you'd have Jackson Lacombe. He would end up scoring for the Anaheim Ducks, making it a 2-1 game at the end of the second period for Vegas. Now, in terms of penalties, Vegas only had 1 penalty in this game. So this is kind of, piggybacking on last episode where the Vegas Golden Knights had 0 penalties in that game. Really solid discipline by Vegas. And as a matter of fact, that only penalty they had in this game just so happened to be a Nick Waugh penalty. It was, I think, hooking was the call by Nicholas Waugh. Vegas killed that off. So overall, with the Vegas Golden Knights, 1-for-1 on the penalty kill. That was good by them. Now, something that I do want to address, and it's really the only negative from this episode, and that is them being 0-for-2 on the power play. And more importantly, they struggled on the power play in this game. There just wasn't a lot of good passes, the shot selections. It just seemed like Vegas was not getting it together and was not piecing the right puzzle pieces on this power play. So for the Vegas Golden Knights going 0-2 on the power play, and just the dysfunction of, the passing on the power play, it was just unfortunate to see, but Vegas just did not connect on the power play. So that is really the only negative that you have in this game. But another positive that Vegas did have is that they won 67% of their faceoffs. They just dominated the faceoff circle in this game. And when you win that much of the percent of the faceoffs, that's going to lead to more opportunities to score on the other end. So for Vegas, I like that. I can appreciate the fact that you had almost a 70% winning percentage in the faceoff circle in this game at the Honda Center. Later on in the game, Vegas is up 2-1. Alexander Holtz with his second goal as a Vegas Golden Knight. For someone who really hasn't been on the score sheet that much with Vegas, even despite all the opportunities Vegas has given him, his second goal in 27 games. So for Alexander Holtz, that's good to see. At least it's, something of note for Alexander Holtz, him getting on the board for Vegas. And then being up 3-1 at the Honda Center, Anaheim would pull the goalie. Vegas would have Shea Theodore shoot it down the ice for the empty netter. So for Shea Theodore, a multi-goal performance against his former team. He was with the Anaheim Ducks before the Vegas Golden Knights took him in the expansion draft as a kind of compensation, to not take certain people. It was Clayton Stoner and Shea Theodore was an add-on during the 2017 NHL expansion draft. So a multi-goal performance against his former team out there in Anaheim. And, I like to see that from Shea Theodore. And overall, I also do want to mention this because not only did the Vegas Golden Knights pick up the victory in this game, but look at the win-loss record for Vegas. Over this, let's just call it the last 20 games of the year. There has been some really bad games. Utah, Toronto, just to name a few. But then there's been games like Anaheim, where they have been on pure domination from almost when the puck dropped to when the buzzer sound. This is a game where the Vegas Golden Knights took advantage of the opposing team's weakness and they benefited from their strengths to win this game for Vegas. So, people keep talking about the Pacific Division. I'm not worried about LA at this point. Edmonton, we know who McDavid is. We know what Draisaitl is. All right, we're very aware of what they can do. But when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights, this is an organization that if you're racking up 3 wins and 2 losses, okay, if you're going 3-1-1, that means that you're getting 7 points out of 10, okay? And if you are consistently racking up those wins, where out of 10 points, you're getting 6 out of 10, you're getting 7 out of 10, even better, if you get 8 out of 10 during a 5-game stretch, that is what helps you not only make the playoffs, but possibly win your division. So for the Vegas Golden Knights, I like what we saw here. By the way, 2-point performance for Jack Eichel. Him in the faceoff circle, he did what he needed to do. He also had some really good shot selections in this game. And for Jack Eichel, 30 assists in 27 games. So not only is he racking up more assists than he is per game, but this is a guy, Jack Eichel, who right now is in the top 5 in the NHL in points. So for Jack Eichel, player of the game. And, I keep joking about him being team MVP. But, if this guy gets to 100 points by year's end, he will most certainly be team MVP. So when it comes to Vegas, when it comes to your Golden Knights, obviously this was the back-to-back and getting, by the way, 2 wins in a doubleheader. That is important for Vegas to go 2-0 on a back-to-back. 2 days from now, Dallas Stars, and then after that, you're going to have the really tough meat and potatoes of this schedule. You're going to have Dallas, you're going to have Winnipeg, you're going to have Edmonton, and then after that, Minnesota with their hot start to the year. So when it comes to this organization, the next 4 games are going to be so crucial to Vegas because you're going up against, right now, playoff caliber teams. And it'll be curious to see how Vegas performs. And like I mentioned, if you, out of a 4-game stretch, if 8 points are on the board, if you can get 5 or 6 points out of 8, you are in the right direction with this organization. So this was, the Vegas Golden Knights picking up this victory. And I can appreciate what the Vegas Golden Knights have done here. And as we're doing Vegas Hockey Hub recap here on PR Connections Radio, I do want to quickly say to everyone watching all around the world, go to our social medias at Vegas Hockey Hub, our website that we're building up right now, www.vegashockeyhub.com. And if you want to follow our YouTube channel, if you want to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, we're trying to upload more often to our YouTube channel at Vegas Hockey Hub. And I want to appreciate PR Connections Radio and everyone working out there in the studio because they help us make this show possible. And, we have our Facebook page, we have our Instagram link, we have our Twitter, our TikTok, where we try to upload, the morning skates and games that we're going to and events that we are part of. So overall, for Vegas Hockey Hub, this has been a very fun year already. And there's going to be more down the line with Vegas Hockey Hub. So like I said, watch our social medias, click on those social media content, and more importantly, moving forward with Vegas Hockey Hub, we're going to be doing more of these recap shows. If there's a big announcement or if there's something big that happens, we're going to upload maybe one of those shows that we've done over the last 3 seasons. But we will be focusing more on the game recaps themselves than the half-hour episodes that we upload. So essentially, if there's breaking news, we'll cover it. But, the daily episodes at 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central, there's going to be some changes to that here on Vegas Hockey Hub. But this is Vegas Hockey Hub. This is where we upload 8 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Central. Once again, 8 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Central time. So this is every single game afterwards, the morning of, we upload these videos. So until next time, go Knights go, and have a good one.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.